Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for an absolute blockbuster, exclusive interview. I'm very proud to say that me and my best buddy, co-host Saj, is interviewing the brilliant Asmir Begović for the first time. And it is the first time having an active live player on the channel. So I am very, very excited for this, as I'm sure you are as well. But Asmir, first of all, how are you doing, good sir? How are you?
Well, guys, first and foremost, thanks a lot for having me on your show. It's a pleasure. And to answer your second question, I'm doing good, feeling good. Really, everything's under control over here in England. So looking forward to the next few games.
Perfect. Well, let's get straight into this. Sad, you feeling good? You good, bro?
Yeah, sorry. I've spent the last 3 hours doing research on you, so it's weird to see the man that I just did a lot of research on. So yeah,
brilliant.
No, it's
brilliant.
a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
Well, listen, obviously, you know, for everybody watching, I'm sure, of course, you will know Asmir Begović, but you know, the basic background, you know, Bosnian international, Bosnian Herzegovina, and you know, international, and like I said, you know, won a title with Chelsea, you know, and FA Cup runner-up as well, Stoke Player of the Year, very, you know, well received in the Premier League, great Premier League consistency. Premier League winner. That's what I said. Do you know what I'm saying? It ain't no joke. And I want to start with, you know, for me, the fact that you've played 17 complete, you know, seasons and the consistency that you've shown in your career, especially in the Premier League, 13 Premier League as well. It's impressive. For me, when we look at you as a player and you obviously reflect on your career, how are you going to reflect on that level of consistency? Is that something that you pride yourself upon? Is that something that every single season at the start, in pre-season, no matter what club you're at, you know, whether it's Bournemouth, Stoke, Chelsea, you've got your own targets and your own mindset that you're going in with this consistency that you've pride yourself upon?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think that's certainly probably the number one thing that I will pride myself on. I think you know, when I go back to my younger days, I always thought, yeah, becoming a professional was always my biggest goal, and I thought maybe that was the hardest thing to do. But then actually, as you say, looking back 17 years, you know, it really is the harder of the two is staying there. I mean, I know it's really hard to get to the professional level, but really staying there and then staying at the highest level, and as you say, challenging yourself against the best players in the world on a daily basis, because it's not just what people see in the games, it's every single training session that you have to be at a high level and have to be available for and ready for. So I think that longevity is something I've taken a lot of pride in, but also that consistency to make sure that your performances are at a high level on a daily basis. And I think that's important. That's obviously something that the managers and coaches, goalkeeper coaches see, and that's something they've obviously been impressed with and trusted me with my work. And, you know, it's something that I take huge pride in, and something that's obviously held me in good stead for all those years.
And Saj, I know you was looking, you know, at the very start of his career and the way that I guess he began, and you wanna take it from there in terms of background there.
So yes, you left Bosnia and at age 4 to move to Germany. How was that transition for you growing up, having to move from a country that you love so much to a new country, and then also trying to assimilate to a new country whilst also still trying to play football and like learn the ropes of the game?
Yeah, I mean, right away, my life pretty much got turned upside down. I mean, I know it sounds, it's pretty surreal. It sounds pretty crazy, but you know, as soon as I was born, like you said, 3 or 4 years later, you know, a whole happy family living in Bosnia, and you know, as we know now, in the current state of the world, some conflict broke out and changed our lives forever. And we lost everything, and we had to go. And you know, my parents made a decision to flee Bosnia and seek a better life and safety somewhere else. And that's when, you know, things really became difficult for us as a family, but we always stuck together, which was the most important thing. My parents always held that really solid foundation for us as kids, for obviously myself and my brothers. And it gave us a chance to do something good in our life. Now, I started playing football organized, and I went to Germany. I started at about the age of 5. You know, I had gloves on basically since the day I was born, because my dad My dad was a goalie. My granddad was a goalie. So
I was about to bring that up.
yeah, so the gloves were on me right away from the beginning. So as soon as I could start playing any sort of organized football, I was right in there. And you know, being a goalkeeper was the only thing on my mind ever since that day. And I guess we're here almost 30 years later, and I'm still doing it. So it's you know, it's been a pretty cool journey.
Whilst you brought up your dad, I'm gonna stick on topic. Interesting fact I found out while doing research for you. Your dad Amir was a footballer in his younger days. He played for Lyota in Bosnia. Also, your brother Dennis, he is also a footballer. He's 22 years old. He's played for Hoffenheim Youth and also Bristol City under 21s. He's currently in the States playing for SU Bear, Shore Bear in America. My question to you is goalkeeping in your family blood, and what's the situation going on there? Because it seems like you've just got a lineage of like 4 or 5 generations of just really good footballers.
Damn, you did do your homework.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I don't think my wife knows this much about me. I love it. No, it's all true. Goalkeeping was in my family. Like now, the more I think about it, it's been great to really carry that on. And you know, it was a blessing in a way too, right? Because I didn't know anything else, so I just did it. I fell in love with it, and then I also had my coach at all times, which for a goalkeeper is huge now. I mean, you know, the projects that I'm doing now with my academies and things, you know, I can really vouch for how important goalkeeper training is, and to have that on your doorstep was priceless, absolutely priceless. And then the fact that it's carried on my family, my brother doing it, you know, for the last few years has been great. Obviously, he's gone to the college side of things over there in the States, which has been a great experience for him. So it's definitely something that's been in the family. I've got 2 daughters, so whether that's going to be carried on, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
It could be. One more thing. Is it exciting for you to have like a brother that you that have played consistently at such a high level, that you can impart so much information and tips and tricks, and you can go training sessions or just have conversations with him about how his career is going, what he doesn't need to do to develop, and how far do you think Dennis can go in the game?
Well, I mean, it's something that's down to him ultimately. You know, I'm always there for him. Or if he needs anything, any advice, as you say, in any difficult moments, or and any time that he needs any help, I'm here for him. My dad's been there for him as well, and we're always there to pick up the phone for whatever he needs, because you know there will be those moments, and to have someone really close to you who can help you with that is huge, of course. As to how far he can go, you know, that remains to be seen. That's down to him. You know, he's got a year and a half left of school. So whether he wants to go down the professional route after that, or, you know, focus on other things outside of football and goalkeeping, that remains to be seen. But, you know, he's got potential, and whether he wants to, you know, fulfill that or not, that's up to him. The good thing for us as a family, there's never been pressure. I mean, it's something that always just happened naturally for me. But we didn't have to be goalkeepers, you know. There was no pressure on that. The pressure came was later, you know, having to live up to my dad's name, which I realized later was quite a big name in the former Yugoslavia. And then even for my brother now with what I've been able to accomplish. So that's probably the only pressure, even in the sibling family rivalry. But in terms of internally, we've never pushed each other. Oh, you have to do that. You have to do this. It's just sort of whatever happens naturally.
Yeah. I wanted to follow up on this because I wanted to ask, obviously, the drive to become, you know, a professional goalkeeper at the highest level. You know, me and Saj always talk about privately. It's such a difficult thing to do. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to play at the highest level in the Premier League, even in the Championship. This is out of millions of people trying to become, you know, a footballer. This is the creme de la creme. Does it take a special mentality and a special kind of drive to become a goalkeeper? Because you are kind of like the evil arts of the game, right? You're there to stop the ball going in the back of the net. You're throwing yourself in front of shots. Everybody wants to see goals. Everybody wants to see an entertaining game. And you guys are like the villains. And I in school was a bit of a villain at times. Saj will know, he went to school with me. So I want to see if this is kind of translating into football for you. Do you get a joy out of stopping attackers and, I guess, ruining people's day, maybe?
I guess, yeah, we're there to ruin people's experience at times. But no, in all seriousness, it's a different mentality totally. You know, I get joy out of saving shots, and I get, well, zero joy of scoring goals. And it's completely the opposite for most, you know, over 90% of other players and professionals out there. So it's a completely different mentality. And, you know, I'm hoping that the footballing crowd can appreciate the position. Not that many do. So it's a difficult one to please everybody, but it's definitely a different mentality. You know, I think you're almost wanting to be a villain is a good thing, because, you know, you want to stop the goals going in. And then just obviously different, more intricate bits of the mentality of being a goalkeeper, you know, about dealing with setbacks and sort of going from hero to zero and all these sorts of things. So many different things really play into being a goalkeeper at the highest level.
Yeah.
To quickly piggyback onto what Matisse said, one more question is it lonely being a goalkeeper? Because it's not like being, I've never heard anyone really ask this question to a goalkeeper, a high-level goalkeeper. Is it lonely? Because it's a very unique position, the goalkeeper. It's not like you're an outfield player, especially if you play in a good team where the ball is in the other half where you want it to be most of the time. You got to be back there. You've got to stay concentrated. You got to stay focused. But at the same time, you could feel a little bit separated because there's so much ongoing on the other side of the field that you're just here alone.
Yeah, it is lonely. You get isolated in many different ways. One, you know, you're an individual in a team sport in a way. You know, you really are. You try and be connected to the team, and of course you're part of the team in many different ways. But at the same time, you do your own training. You're separated from the group most of the training sessions, most of the times in pre-match meetings. You know, all the preparation, and then you come together for the game. So you're an important part of the team, but at the same time, you are a completely different part of the team. So you do get isolated. You do feel lonely. And I think the biggest part you feel lonely is the fact that only goalkeepers understand what you're going through. So whenever you speak to anyone else in the game, even coaches, outfield players, you know, unless you've been in those shoes, you're really talking to a wall, because they can't even begin to understand what we go through and how we have to think about the game and how we approach it and the way we see things. And the fact that actually a lot of them don't even want to get educated about our position and, you know, try and be experts in something they really don't know anything about, makes you feel even more isolated. So it's definitely, like I said, it's got its own intricacies, own special ways of dealing with the position and having to understand what it takes to be a goalie. And it's not something that's for everyone. So you have to be a special type to deal with it.
Yeah, I want to go around and share everybody's footballing idols. Obviously, mine's Ronaldinho. I know Sage's Kai Havertz, especially after the goal against Man City last year in the Champions League final. Sage,
hilarious.
Sage is a Man City fan for Asmir's to piggyback there. Sage, reveal Asmir's idol. Let's see if you get this spot on.
Oh, of course. Well, I did the research, so yes. Asmir, your footballing idol, of course, is Oliver Kahn. Correct or am I incorrect?
100% correct.
Of course. The amazing and great Oliver Kahn, the multiple-time Bundesliga winner Oliver Kahn. Out of everybody in the footballing world, what impressed you about him the most?
Well, I mean, a lot of things, right? So going back to the days when I was growing up in Germany, you know, you get influenced by the guys you watch. You know, as you guys, we all have our heroes in different ways. We watch these guys and they always inspire us to try and almost be like them. So when I was in those, you know, early teens, you know, 5 to 10-year-old stage, that was my team, Bayern Munich. I grew up in Germany. They were the team to watch, and had Oliver Kahn playing a goal. And then, you know, I just got obsessed with the team, got obsessed with him, watched everything, watched every game, and really followed his career, you know, from there on in. Now, what impressed me the most was, I know you touched on it earlier. I mean, it's probably something I've even appreciated later on as I've been a professional. The fact is consistency. I mean, the amount of games he played at the highest level, the highest of high levels at a club where, as you both well know, at the highest of levels, and not having been there and playing for these clubs, you know, nothing but excellence is accepted every single day. So to be able to do it for that long is a huge credit to him. So that impressed me. And then, of course, just his techniques. You know, he was an incredible shot stopper. Helped also lead the team. Again, these were things that I learned more about him as I grew older and understood the position even more. You know, his presence, his leadership, and then just being there for his team, of course, even as a captain. So You know, so many of his attributes really impressed me, and I thought, even when I think back now, in that sort of late 90s, early 2000s, 10-year spell, I thought he was the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing I want to get onto is, of course, the consistency of the Stoke team that you were part of. 13, 14 and 14-15 season where you finished back-to-back ninth places. You were obviously a mainstay in that team under Mark Hughes, but obviously you joined earlier on as well. Just talk to me about how it was to be a part of that atmosphere in that team, because obviously they're the highest place finishes for the club. It's obviously a booming atmosphere, but we know traditionally Stoke are always that wet and windy team, and along with Burnley, they're the team that bring the versatility to the Premier League. They're the team that shock teams. They're the team that everybody goes up against. It's going to be a long day. What is it to be a part of that kind of vibe? And do you have that even not just on the pitch, but pre-match, you know, when you're walking out? Do you sense that you guys are difficult to be playing against, kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I joined Stoke in 2010. I spent 5.5 years there, which seemed like a long time, but really flew by. And I remember joining the team halfway through their second season in the Premier League. You know, a team that was managed by Tony Pulis at the time, and you know, of course, we had a certain way of playing. You know, we were a very physical, strong, direct team, but also we were an incredibly hardworking team, and that's the way the manager set us up, and that's the way he wanted to play. One thing we also did have was an incredible culture within the team. You know, some great characters, great guys who were just willing to put in the work every single day and set the tone for everyone involved in that team, in that club. And I think one of the coolest things was that we, in that time, you know, when you're talking about getting promoted, and then, you know, soon after that, we're well-established Premier League team, you know, playing in FA Cup finals, playing the Europa League all within 3-4 years. The thing we really have was a connection with the city, and the city, the way that it's a working class North Midlands town, and it's something that they wanted. I wouldn't expect for us to be any different, and they wanted us to work hard and really work hard for the team in the city, and they gave us that support each and every week, and it's something we really fed off. And you know, then later as we progressed, and as a new manager came, and we progressed our football a little bit to a more possession-based team, and you know, wanted to control games. We were able to bring in some better players, of course, as well. Then, of course, we took it to another level, and we're able to finish in the top half. So, you know, we achieved a lot of different things in my time there, and you know, it was really nice to leave that team in a really good spot when I moved on to Chelsea after that.
Quickly, I found some interesting stats about your time. You were a mainstay when it came to Stoke. So you, of course, you had the 38 games, player of the season for Stoke back in 2012. That's a big achievement. You played every single game of the season. Not many people can say that. You also had the 13, 14, 14, 15 season, where of course you played respectively. You played 32 games and 35 games, 9 clean sheets and 7 clean sheets. What I don't think many people truly can appreciate, you were the main goalkeeper in the highest ever, maybe even some would say overachieving team, Stoke team of all time. How does that make you feel? That's a massive achievement.
No, it makes me feel very proud. You know, I think I have an incredible relationship with that club in that city, and you know, everything I gave them was genuine, and I gave my best all the time. And the fact is, they gave me the opportunity to really progress my career. You know, I was at Portsmouth as a youngster, and that gave me the chance to kind of get to that level. But Stoke really made my career and allowed me to establish myself at the highest level. And you know, I was a young goalkeeper when I came there. So for them to really put that trust in me and that faith was incredibly big. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but I was close to joining Chelsea actually in 2010. Only 6 months after I joined Stoke. But the owner and the chairman put his foot down and said, "No, you're not going anywhere. We believe in you." And you know, then of course the rest is history, and I ended up joining 5 years later. But you know, that club gave me a huge opportunity to myself and my family, and then I was able to repay him with all these appearances and things, and clean sheets, and of course wins and great memories was something I'll always cherish.
And obviously that consistency brings us to the Chelsea move that eventually then happens for around 10 million, maybe just under. I want to ask you
guys
about...
want to know? Do you want to know the real figure?
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Oh,
yes.
go for it. Yeah, because they be hiding
13.
that undisclosed.
I had 13.5.
What now?
You heard?
What was it?
6.75 million.
Oh, really?
Okay,
See,
you
look,
didn't know
I'm
that.
telling you, they're sneaky.
Plus Marco van Ginkel on loan. So whatever you value that.
It'd be sneaky with these transfer fees. I'm telling you. That consistency at Stoke obviously brings us to Chelsea. And I want to, because obviously now you're established. You're more than established. You know, you've made it. You know, I say to everybody, if you're in the Premier League, you've made it. Really have made it. And now you're changing in the career, because now you're going to start off a second choice to Thibaut Courtois. It's a completely different environment at Chelsea. Obviously, it's a very, you know, big club based on winning, and it's very cutthroat. That's what Chelsea were always based on during that time. And I want to ask you what the mindset was for you going into that move, and how is it going from regular first team football, like we mentioned, Saj just mentioned there, consistent starter, to now having to go on the bench to Thibaut Courtois and try and maybe displace what is a world-class goalkeeper. What's the mindset there, and how difficult, because obviously I'm sure you will know loads of goalkeepers in the game, how difficult it is to get that mindset right for a second choice goalkeeper, because it is a complete change in mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for sure it is. I guess my mindset going into it was something, guys, that I've had my whole entire career, and that's to take the challenge on, and the biggest and the hardest challenge. You know, I at 16 left home and went to England to go prove myself against the best and earned a contract in the Premier League. You know, I worked my way through the whole system, loan spell after loan spell, and then you know, at Portsmouth through different goalkeepers, and eventually I worked my way all the way up to being their Premier League #1. And even when I went to Stoke initially, it was to fight with Tom and Sorensen. I took that challenge on. I could have stayed back and been comfortable, but I wanted to progress and I wanted to get better, and I wanted to play at the highest level. I took that on and succeeded there. And that was no different going to Chelsea. It was at the time for me, all the options that I did have, the biggest challenge to go and, you know, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, or arguably whatever, the club in England at that moment in time, Premier League champions, to go there with these champions, to go there with Jose Mourinho and compete against the best of the best every single day and every week was for me the biggest challenge, because I knew that, and from my past experiences, whether you play or don't play, you're going to be a better player. You know, whether you learn it, but just things you see every single day, obviously by working just at a high level, you're going to get better. And just, you know, observing these guys and being around these guys, I think their behaviors are going to rub off on you. And, you know, that's exactly what happened. I became a better player, goalkeeper when I left Chelsea. And then ultimately as well, at the end of it, you wanted to compete for trophies. Mm. And to compete for trophies, you need a team, you need a squad. It's not, no one person can do it for you. You need every single player playing their role and pushing each other and helping each other to achieve that collective goal at the end. And the fact is that we won the Premier League, and, you know, unlucky not to win maybe a second and a third trophy in that time. Again, as a competitor, that's what you want. I never really, you know, I was a couple of times lucky with Portsmouth and Stoke to get to cup finals and things like that, which was probably against the grain and a little bit unusual. But I wanted to be there. I wanted to feel that pressure. I wanted to know what it was like to be at a club like this that had an expectation to be at the absolute top every single year and compete for these trophies and just be at a top club. So my mindset never changed, and that's exactly my mindset going into that move.
Yeah. And before I move on to the next, I just want to touch on the success, because it's huge. It's absolutely huge success. And I always talk about this, you know, yourself, Loic Remy, big parts of those teams, you know, that won the title for us, because like you said, everybody's got to play their part. You can never know when there's going to be an injury or even, you know, a rise in form from yourself, a loss of form for another person. You have to be ready. And that's the mentality going in through the doors from the get-go. Everybody's got to be on side, ready to go, because we just never know what's going to happen. I remember when Chelsea had 2 goalkeepers injured at once, and Hilario came in as the third choice, because it was a freak of nature. I want to ask you, when you won the Premier League, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like top of the world, you know, for so many different reasons, right? One, from an individual reason, to understand where I came from the beginning of my life, and then to be there at Stamford Bridge lifting the Premier League trophy was a huge journey. I mean, did I ever imagine being able to do that in my life? Probably not. You know, of course, it's wishful thinking, you dream, but the fact that it became reality was incredibly special. So from an individual point of view, incredibly special. And then, you know, secondly, it was from a team point of view. We had it takes a special group to achieve big things, and the group that we had, the players from 1 to 25, the camaraderie we had, you know, I'm still friends with a lot of those guys, still to this day, again, was an incredibly special thing. So when you combine those things, just that's what the game is all about, and exactly why I went to Chelsea. And, you know, I was so happy that it paid off in the end.
And obviously that success then leads to your next move, which is to Bournemouth. And the figure, am I going to get this right with the 13 million, or are you going to surprise me with something else in terms of like the actual figure? Or did I get that
10
one?
million. It was 10
there
million.
There you go.
Sky Sports be lying to me. I'm going to have a word next time I'm on. Listen, honestly. And
Speculation.
We want to touch on a special part of your career on loan, actually. Saj, I want to let you segue into that, because I don't think this is spoken of enough. You obviously won the Azerbaijan title. Which, you know, it's another trophy to your record. So
very underrated part of your career. Nobody talks about it. You were on loan from Bournemouth. You were FK Karabakh, and this is a big deal because you didn't just win the English Premier League trophy. You also won the Azerbaijan trophy, Premier League, a league title, of course. You had 10 starts, 6 clean sheets. When researching this, will die on the hill that you were paramount to them winning that league. You can't play 10 games and have 6 clean sheets and then when they win it, you not be a big deal. How was that for you? And like, what was it like going on loan and picking up a title like this and helping this team achieve this big achievement?
Again, an incredibly, you know, big experience for me, just as a person, of course, as a player. It was a bit of a crazy summer, a lot of turmoil and change of Bournemouth that summer. And, you know, at the end of the window, that's an opportunity that came up, and, you know, and I took it. So, yeah, I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into, but I went there and took the opportunity with both hands, and was able to really enjoy football, play a lot of games in the league. We had the Europa League campaign, we had the Cup as well. So a lot of games, a lot of great experiences. And I met some fantastic people who, again, I still talk to on a daily basis. And like I said, just some great people that I was able to meet, get to know, and really put another chapter in my book. And like I said, become a better person and even a goalkeeper for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, we've gone from the highs to the trophies, but of course there are always some lows as well in anybody's life and career. And right now, obviously with Everton, it is a struggle, you know, with the situation. But I want to ask you about how it is to train under Frank Lampard. Obviously, this is a player that is a legend at Chelsea. Now he's your manager. How does it feel to train under him? And how do you feel about, you know, just the pressure of maybe this side of the table in terms of bringing such a prestigious club who have never, you know, been in maybe the situation that I can remember just from watching football? How is that pressure to now, that responsibility to take them out of this? And how does that compare with maybe the title wins for you?
Yeah, I mean, when you play this level, there's pressure at all times, right? So whether it's a pressure of winning the league or Champions League places, European places, or to stay in this league, you know, the pressure is different for different teams in different ways. And for us, it's to stay in this league. You know, we've had a tough season. I mean, anything that could have probably gone wrong has gone wrong, and that's the way it can go in football sometimes. And ultimately, there's no other choice but to keep going and take that on the chin and see how many times you can get knocked down and make sure you're still standing at the end of the season. So we know now at this moment in time we have 13 league games left to make sure we stay in this league. And you know, I think if we get it somewhat right, you know, we can really have a good last third of the season, and things can look very different for us in a couple of months' time. So hopefully that these difficult times will make us stronger as a team, as individuals, and you know, we learn from it, and hopefully finish off the season the right way, and then we can kick on again next year.
I wanna finish on a positive note. Of course, I mean this is just for me the icing on the cake, you know, and it's the perfect way to end this brilliant interview. You scored from, we talk about 40 yarders, we talk about 30 yarders. You scored from 97.5 yards. I think the longest goal ever recorded in terms of the distance. Obviously, only 13 seconds as well against Arthur Boric, former Celtic goalkeeper of Southampton at the time. 5th goalkeeper to have scored in the Premier League at that time. How did that feel? Because we talk about trophies, we talk about titles, but you scored a goal, and not many goalkeepers can say that. That's a huge deal. I mean, when I used to score a goal, I would be like, "Whoa, this is nuts!" And I'm a left back. So
do you know what was even better than that? The nonchalantness afterwards. Is like, I do this every day. Yeah. Training session stuff.
We do this every day.
It's all good. It's all good. There was almost no celebration from you. It's just so casual.
No, I mean, listen, there's so many things to describe for that goal. I mean, did I expect to score a goal? No, I didn't. But if I was dreaming about how to do it, that's not the way I would have probably dreamt of it. You know, I was thinking maybe a last minute equalizer or something like that, and
of course,
you know, going wild, not 10 seconds into a game. So firstly, I didn't know what to really do with myself. So that explains the reaction. You'll see me in games, I don't tend to show a lot of emotion anyway. So, was a huge celebration of the cards? Probably not. And then, ultimately it's a special moment. Of course, even now, again, you realize it's, almost 10 years later, that it just doesn't happen very often. So, you're part of history. I know how rare it is. And something, obviously, of course, I'll always cherish.
Yeah, 2nd of November 2013. So almost a year to the day.
Almost, yeah. There we go.
Can I quickly one more question, please?
As many as you like. Go on.
Charity. You're a big charity man. You have the Asmir Begović Foundation. Of course, you went back to Bosnia and Herzegovina, and you built some pitches, gave the kids somewhere to play, somewhere to grow their skills. How much does charity mean to you and giving back? Because I do see throughout your career this has been a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I understand the difficulties I experienced as a youngster, where I came from, and and I've obviously been very fortunate to be in this position that I am, and the game has given so much to me that it's nice to be able to give something back. I think Bosnia as a country went through a lot many years ago now, but still recovering in different ways. And I think if we as people can help and make those positive choices and impact on society, then it's something that I do very gladly. And I think going back home to do a bit of this charity work to try and inspire some of that next generation to help them achieve maybe their dreams like I did, then I'm all for it. I'm all in, and that's exactly what we try and do. So whether we can build one pitch every few years or whatever we can do, I think it'll do good. It'll help and contribute to better ways. And, it's something that we've done and we do with my academies, my camps, and all this kind of stuff that we do. I think it's just a great way of bringing kids, the next generation, together and trying to help them find their way and make their own paths in life and maybe in football even.
That's a wonderful way to end. Wonderful way to end the show, and it's an absolute pleasure, as I said at the start of the show, having you on. Thank you so much for your time, Saj. As always, brilliant. Fantastic research. Like you said earlier, Asmir, he's almost done the due diligence that you'd never.
He's a keeper. He's a keeper.
But you got a lot of you've had a great career. So obviously
you have.
There's enough research there. It's not like you play for one club and then retired. You have a lot of you've done the most. So we can do the most.
100%. And it's fascinating, to be honest, all the different parts of your career. And like I said, it's wonderful to go through. Hopefully we speak again. Obviously, like I said, you're on the byline saying to Saj and with Alex as well, Alex Goldberg, who I work with as well. Obviously, when we finish episodes, we always talk about where can they find you, where they know where they can find you, on the football pitch. Do you know what I mean? With Everton playing. You're as public as you can possibly be when it comes to guests on this channel. So an absolute pleasure having you on, Asmir.
See if he wants to plug. Would you like to plug anything while you're here?
Yeah. Plug where you can find me. Social, football channels, of course, social media, at Asmir1. You know, follow me, follow my brand, AB1 GK, my academies, ABGK Academies. So whatever you want to follow, it all means a lot. So there you go.
Perfect. All the links will be in the description. Yeah, 100%. And guys, for everybody watching, I hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been an absolute pleasure for us, you know, to have this interview. And listen, we hope to bring you something along these lines in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please make sure that you're subscribed, of course, for more. And big up everybody, and smash up the icons as always. As I tell you, leave your comments down below. I'll be answering everything that you have in terms of questions, and make sure you click on those links in the description and follow Asmir.
Check out
appreciated, massive appreciated for this one, Asmir. In a bit, people. Peace.